Hello everybody, Hassan here from Galaxy Invest. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research. So before we get into today's topic, which you probably guessed from the title of the video, I do want to mention that I really appreciate the feedback that I'm getting from subscribers and even non-subscribers in the comment sections and the Twitter family community. I really do appreciate the feedback, guys. I think slowly but surely we will raise awareness in this space, and I think ultimately one like, one more subscriber, one more comment in the discussion will eventually lead to that mission, right? So the goal of this channel and many other channels out there is to raise awareness and to make sure that we cover some of these companies that are being left out from popular investors, popular analysts, and we do believe that there's an opportunity here that is revolutionary, and hopefully from the previous videos and obviously from this video and ongoing videos that we will be publishing, we'll be able to demonstrate that to any investor, any retail investor that's willing to get their feet wet in this space. So before I even start with the topic, the backstory here of today's topic video is because Tesla, they released their numbers yesterday with the number of cars delivered and number of cars produced, and they just broke records, right? They beat expectations. Even many of the Tesla bulls were expecting a certain number, and they just went through the roof yesterday. The market was closed, so you couldn't really see that reaction on Tesla's stock price. But the general belief is that Monday, when markets open, after the long weekend, many investors will pour a lot of money into Tesla, which makes sense, right? Because they just broke records, and their mission is being, they're on track to achieve their mission, which is transforming dirty energy into renewable energy, which obviously includes electrical vehicles on the road. So the reason why I'm talking about Tesla is because now in today's belief, in Twitter and YouTube, there's always, people are always looking for the next Tesla in whatever field that is, right? Healthcare, genomics, like real estate, right? Different industries, people are asking the same question, right? What is the next Tesla? And I think when I got exposed to this field, the first thing I also did, because obviously I did invest in Tesla, and I was looking for the next Tesla in whatever field that is. And the truth of the matter is Tesla it's its own beast, right? So there's never going to be another Tesla, right? Tesla is Tesla, and the next Tesla is Tesla. However, the question now becomes, what is the next Tesla, or a company that can achieve Tesla gains and have this type of mission to disrupt legacy industries in the genomic space, right? And I think the first thing many people will say, including me when I got in this space, is CRISPR Therapeutics, right? Is CRISPR Therapeutics the next Tesla? And the reality of the thing is hopefully from the previous videos and from all of the work we've done so far, you guys can probably tell that CRISPR Therapeutics will probably not be the next Tesla, because there is no next Tesla in this space, right? We've mentioned that there will be many winners, right? In the genomic space, there's so many diseases out there, right? And just in genomic itself, you have different technologies, right? So we're talking about gene editing for CRISPR Therapeutics. CRISPR Therapeutics is not involved in sequencing, right? Their business, their mission does not involve in sequencing, right? These are on other companies that are tackling this problem about reducing the cost in sequencing and making it mass market and reducing the inefficiencies in the sequencing space. But in gene editing, CRISPR Therapeutics is definitely one of the leading companies, but there are other companies as well, right? Antilia, Beam Therapeutics with their base editing technology, right? There's Editas, right? And then there's obviously other companies too. There's Repair Therapeutics that CRISPR Talk, the YouTuber, mentioned from his previous video, and I found really interesting that this company is actually based in Montreal, which is my hometown. So there's so many companies out there, right? And it makes total sense, right? there's so many diseases out there. We looked at some of the numbers. Just one specific set of disease could be worth a total addressable market of like 40 billion, right? And that's just one disease. There's thousands and thousands of diseases out there, and there's probably diseases out there that still haven't been discovered, or probably they still haven't been found yet, right? Because this is part of human nature, right? We there's new diseases every single decades. There's new diseases coming up, right? The pandemic was a virus that just came out of nowhere, right? People were not, quote unquote, prepared for it. So what is to say that in the next decade, every year there's a new sort of disease, virus that's out there, and perhaps gene editing, some of these companies can tackle them and then obviously make a business around it, right? So that's what the CRISPR Therapeutics and many of these companies are doing. So to make it short, I don't believe that CRISPR Therapeutics is the next Tesla in this gene editing space or even genomics, because the space is so big and there's different technologies and there's so many diseases out there. But it's still a fun way of thinking about it. And as you continue asking the questions to, well, why they cannot be the next Tesla? Well, probably because there's so many technologies and there's so many diseases out there. The market is so big for many winners to be present. So I do believe that that's basically the thesis for myself and for many investors out there. But you're free to believe whatever you want. Like I said, do your own research. If you believe CRISPR Therapeutics or even Beam Therapeutics or Fate or Intellia or whatever, they're basically going to dominate this market, then hopefully you've done your research to come to that thesis. But so far from the circles that I've been around, the general belief is there will be many winners. So that's definitely something you want to take away from this video. And basically what I did want to show you guys is that ARC-G, right? This is a popular ETF from ARK Invest, ARK Genomic Revolution. And you can see just from the top 10 holdings and just from their big topics, right? CRISPR is what we've been talking about, but there's also, targeted therapeutics, bioinformatics, stem cells, molecular diagnostics, with sequencing and so on. So many technology risks. And I think the safe investor, or perhaps the person that wants to minimize their risk, will probably enter in this space by going with the RG fund. I think that's a great fund for anyone that's interested. Again, do your own research, but do note that they're very, very diverse. So although we've been talking about the Cas9 technology, base editing, we're talking about CRISPR, some of these companies do not tackle those problems, right? They're completely in a different realm, although they're still qualified to be included in the genomic space, because like I mentioned, genomic space is so big. So keep that in mind for sure. So I haven't made much mention of this ETF in these videos, but it's definitely out there. It's a popular one. Many investors are going with the RG fund because they probably don't want to get in that high risk portfolio, which is picking out specific companies such as CRISPR Therapeutics, Intellia, and so on, because the space is so big they just can't wrap their heads around it. But it is what it is, so just keep that in mind. I did want to mention here is from their Big Ideas 2021. Again, this is ARK Invest Big Ideas 2021 report that they released a few weeks ago. You can see there, they talk about electrical vehicles, they talk about, drones and deliveries and so on. But towards the end, they talk about, genomics, right? And you see how they're talking about like the previous legacy ways of doing things. They're so inefficient with cost, right? It's not scalable. There's just no consistency. You're not able to mass market it. And it's just hard to get this thing, the legacy ways of doing cell therapies and perhaps sequencing and so on. So the fact that we have newer technologies here, and we took a look at the previous video from Dr. Sam's interview. He mentioned that with big data and with AI, these are relatively newer technologies being adopted across industries wide. Is that with big data and with AI, you can sort of reduce the delays that previously you had, because you had to extract data, right? So instead of testing on 1,000 mice, for example, you can probably reduce that time with big data. And then, we haven't even looked at the idea of having a blockchain technology, right, where researchers can be distributed, right? So no longer it is centralized, no longer it's behind paywalls and licensing, but research could perhaps be on this open ledger on the blockchain technology, where companies can sort of feed from that data that's being publicized, and ultimately, having an open network, right? Having a ledger of information available to all companies, right? You're just going to have innovation after innovation, and things are just going to move forward in this space. So very, very bullish, right? And I mean, I highly advise you guys to look into ARK Invest. ARK Invest articles. They have many articles, including this big report that they released, and they talked about the total addressable market when it comes to CRISPR, the technology of gene editing. We're looking at big market, right? But take this and just try to remember that this is still at the wild west, right? Things are not really defined. We're way early, right? Think of like the internet of the 1980s, right? We're way early. Things will evolve. There'll be other discoveries, other technologies that will come in play. And I do believe, just like how Intellia adopted the base editing technology through their recent press release, I do believe that these companies, including CRISPR Therapeutics, including Beam Therapeutics, including other players in this space, will sort of pivot as where the technology leads them, right? Right now, for the past few years, and hopefully for the next year or few years, they will be focused on getting their programs in their pipeline to be approved, decrease that time to get these programs approved, because there are many lives being lost because of these types of diseases that CTX001, for example, is tackling, right? Sickle cell disease, beta thalassemia. So many lives are being lost, and the more we wait, the more people are losing their lives, and this is affecting families around the world, right? And I'm not trying to get into an emotional type of discussion, but the truth of the matter is, this isn't just a fancy gadget. It's not just a fancy technology that's on the road. I mean, I love what Tesla is doing. I love some of these companies that are changing the way we communicate, the way we work with each other. But the reality of the things is that what CRISPR Therapeutics, with Intellia, with Beam Therapeutics, with Fate, with Editas, and all these companies in the biotech engineering side of things are doing, they want to tackle a problem that for many decades we've been unable to cure cancer. We've been unable to provide tools to assist individuals with those type of disease to hopefully cure them. We've been unable to do that, and I think this is what these companies are doing. So the question, as an investor, sure, you could look for the next Tesla, you could look for that next big bet, but ultimately, from what we've been researching, from what we've been seeing, is that there will be many players, and this will be great for the world. We will be definitely benefiting all together, right? Having more lives saved, and we'll have many of these diseases that we could eventually eradicate from this world. I think this is just a big positive. The mission here is to cure serious diseases, right? And then the next 20 years, like Dr. Sam mentioned in his video and in his interview from yesterday's video we looked at, is that from next 20 years, he's looking into how to regrow, organs, right? How to use these types of technologies to perhaps even tackle the famous topic of ageism, right? How can we live longer, right? How can we I don't want to use the word immortality, but how can we make ourselves live longer, right? If we have the technology and the tools, why not tackle that type of question, right? And I think this is a big question, but for now, we must remain focused on the mission, which is curing these diseases, these serious diseases that are affecting worldwide many communities, many families. So Very, very interesting to see what's going on. I really hope you guys found some value from this video. If anything, please do leave me a comment, subscribe and like. Really, really does help our channel and the community itself. So I'm going to end this video like this. Hopefully it provided some value again. Feel free to comment and subscribe. So thank you very much, and we'll see each other's hopefully in the next video. Thank you very much.